from the heart of trucker America, my boy Reed Coverdale, host of The Naturalist, Capitalist.
This is what government does. It sucks. It is that perfect mixture of inept and conniving.
Some of my closest relationships are now ruined.
If you think you're going to win people over by stating commonplaces, you're just selling the other parts.
If you are just contrarian, you are by default going to be wrong, because they're always going to have some tidbit of truth.
It is about dictating every transaction that you have for the rest of your life.
Libertarians need to get out of New York. They need to get out of California.
Insurrection at Capitol Hill.
That was the beginning of my problem.
Coverdale is the guy to be president of the United States.
No one's willing to change anything about themselves to get there.
But I'll put a 50 cal attached to my Suburban.
And he died doing what he loved, chasing a minor.
This guy's a fucking murderer.
The gulag is going to be in your house, completely estranged from everything but propaganda. Pearl Harbor was not a surprise, and Saddam did not have nuclear weapons.
Unless you solve the central problem, then we'll be fighting over Mr. Potato Head forever.
He should not be alive. This is unfucking believable.
Gotta get him out of that truck at night and get him into the White House.
Hey guys, how's it going? I have officially made it to 5 figures, 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you to all you guys. I really do appreciate it. Although I'm going to be completely honest, it's been a dead spot. Not that this is any of your fault or anything, but it has been, it's been a flatlining zone for sure. I hit 9,000, I think last April. And I was actually, I think I was shooting to be at 10,000 for my 2-year anniversary starting, and I was on track to do that. I had like 9,700 or something in May of last year, which was 2 years since I started the show. And then, hit 9,000 in April, and then things just kind of flattened out, and nothing really took off. So I don't really know 100% what that was all about. I think some of it was algorithm screwing, and I know some people got unsubscribed from me, not by their own doing. And then other people didn't know when I was going live because they weren't getting notifications, all sorts of stuff going on like that. But all that aside, it is really cool to hit 10,000 subscribers. This is more of a platform than I ever thought I was going to have. When I started this show, I certainly did not think within 2 years that, I would have had Dave Smith, Peter Schiff, Abby Martin, Ron Paul, all these crazy guests that I was honored to have. It's been more successful than I ever thought it would have been. So whenever I find myself complaining about lack of growth or something, it's like, hey, come on, man, like, look at the big picture here. Look at everything that has happened. So I really am grateful to everyone's support, and it's been a good journey. I've learned a lot about myself. I mean, it's been almost 3 years now since I started the show, and May of this year it'll be 3 years. So I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot more about how the world works. Just more about politics, more knowledge. I mean, I got to know at least 10 times what I did when I started this show. And it's from having smart, well-informed people on the show and learning from them and being pushed in different directions to find out different information. It's been a humbling experience to realize how little I know about everything. When I might think I know something about foreign policy, and then you have Scott Horton on and you realize you don't know anything, or choose a category. Like, I think I'm pretty well read on the Bible, but I had Adam Green on today and definitely knows way, way, way more than I do. So it's been a good, humbling and learning experience that has taken place. So I'm thankful. If you guys got any questions or anything you want to address, throw it in the live chat. Before I start answering any of these, I am going to drop a link to my Substack. If you want to support my show financially, this is where you can do it. I just opened up paid subscriptions on Substack. as of right now, I haven't made any changes, but soon I will start posting supporter only pieces of writing. So if you want to go over there and support me that way, that would be awesome. I've got hundreds of subs over there. I'm getting kind of close to 1,000, I think. And I try to put out 1 or 2 articles a week. I sort of dropped the ball in the second half of December because I was working so much and then had the holidays, but trying to get back into that. So please go check that out. Subscribe to me, and if you want to support my work financially, you can there. Let's see. Congratulations, Reed. Thank you. Ofer asks, where can I see Reed's InfoWars appearance? So yeah, I was on InfoWars a couple nights ago with Alex Stein. I posted a link to the video on my community page on Twitter, but I will just my community page on YouTube, but I'm just going to pull it up here anyway and drop it. So I got the link right here. I will drop it in the live chat and you can go watch it there. So here's the link to the InfoWars video. Just dropped it in the live stream. There it is right there. Let's go check that out. Let's see. Do you have any plans of running for office at some point? I do not have plans. I have thought about doing that here in New Hampshire for state representative. I don't have any. If I'm going to say I have a plan to do something, I feel like that means I've figured out exactly what I'm going to do, and I haven't even figured out what town I want to run in or any of that stuff. So it's still not in the idea stage. Definitely not a plan at this point, but I would still like to. I think. Not at a federal level. I'd thought about that before, about doing it at a federal level, and I knew that if it ever happened, it would just be to make a point, not really to try to actually pass legislation, but I don't really feel invested in doing that anymore. So maybe local state representative here in New Hampshire, we'll see. What can Brazil teach us about insurrectioning? Yeah, so I guess as we speak, I just saw something on Twitter about it. They're throwing their own January 6th over there in Brazil. I don't know a ton about what's going on over there. I did have Pasta Jardula on the show a few weeks ago, and he talked about it. He claims that he doesn't think the election was rigged over there. He thinks that it was fair and that their voting is actually way more secure than ours is. That's his opinion. I don't know. I don't really study Brazilian politics. But apparently the Bolsonaro supporters do not feel the same way. So they're throwing their own January 6th over there. So I don't care. I mean, I really don't. Let them do whatever they want as long as we don't get involved with any of it. It seems to me, I don't know how much power the president has over there, but with all these things, it seems like there's just too much sway in the changing of the guard. When we have a new president come in, too much can change because the presidency has way more power than it ever used to. Executive orders, even though, to be honest, a lot of things don't change. The stuff that they still change is way bigger than what they should have unilateral control over. So we should have a system where if we get a new president, you can't even tell, because that person should have so little power. And then maybe we wouldn't, have these firecracker elections every 4 years. That's my opinion. Thanks to Adam. I subbed today. Got notification right away. Well, thanks. I had Adam Green on the show earlier talking about Zionism and its religious roots and how Christianity is just is really a Jewish religion, basically. Which, I mean, it is. Just go watch the show. Tell me what you think. I pushed back on a couple points he made. He definitely knows a lot more than I do. But I still think that even though I'm an atheist, I still have a little bit more respect for Christianity than the other two, because Christianity, to me, seems like a more individualist religion. It's not based on your ethnic bloodlines or whether you're an infidel or a chosen one. It is based on the condition of your heart and if you ask forgiveness for your sins, and there's still a bunch of stuff that I disagree with about, if someone lives an absolutely terrible life and then feels real bad about it at the end and asks for forgiveness, they're fine. And then if somebody, tries to do his best throughout his entire life, but then doesn't believe in a certain set of stories, he goes to hell forever. Stuff like that doesn't make sense to me, but I still appreciate the sentiment of individual salvation instead of, based on ethnic bloodlines and bullshit. So I kind of gave him a little bit of questioning on that, but I thought he gave really compelling answers. So go check it out. Tell me what you think. I do feel like you are heavily stifled by the algorithm. Yeah, I think so. So a couple things happened. The growth was really explosive all through like January, February, March to April of last year. And I was having really big guests on, Kim Iverson, James Lindsay, Ron Paul, Allison Morrow, all these great guests. And I was going on big shows, went on Kennedy on Fox News, went on Allison Morrow's show, went on a couple others too. And so things were taking off and then they just died. I did lose Twitter in June, which is commensurate with when the growth stopped. But I'd still have pretty decent guests. Like I had Ben Swan, Jackson Hinkle, Robbie Martin, forgetting who else. Sorry if I didn't mention your name in that time period, but I did have a lot of big guests and things still kind of petered off. So yeah, I think there was some algorithm screwing, and I know people did tell me directly that they were not getting notifications and they were getting unsubscribed. What does the new year bring? Well, for me, it's not really the new year, but in the end of November, I started a new old job. So it's the job I used to work at back here in New Hampshire. I've worked on and off for these guys like for a decade now almost. And they wanted me to run a vacuum truck. So that's the main job I have, but I also help them. I can kind of do basically everything. So I've done a little bit of line work, done some pole setting, done some equipment operating, done some heavy equipment moving like I used to out in Utah. The machines aren't as big. And I've been getting in touch with some people who are going to come on the show soon to talk about how they have made their own lives better through pursuing careers where you have to use your hands and your back, but you make good money and you don't waste tens of thousands of dollars on a useless degree that you can't get a job for and bag groceries at a Shop and Save for 6 years while you try to pay off your debt. So I already got a few people lined up this coming week who are going to come on and talk about that stuff. And that is the intended new direction of the show. So obviously Adam Green doesn't fit into that agenda that I'm talking about of refocusing the show. I got a couple other guests who also don't fit that. But like I said, I'm not throwing politics or religion out. Like we're still going to talk about it occasionally. But also I had, I think, 3 interviews lined up in the 2 weeks before Christmas, and I couldn't do any of them because I was working. So I had to reschedule them after the holidays. So there will be a couple of those showing up here and there. Royce Lopez of Revenge of the Sizz. He's another guy. He's coming on a week from today, I think. And then it's going to be interspersed with other shows trying to talk about blue collar work. So that's what's going on in the new year. Perhaps you should rename the channel the Cowlick Kid. Yeah, well, I don't know if you're talking about this right here, but yeah, my hair is notoriously untamed. It's an issue I've had my whole life. I guess I shouldn't complain because I have lots of hair. Let's see. If New Hampshire is changing CDL acquisition rules, thought of opening up your own driver's school, cheaper but certified. I don't know about New Hampshire changing CDL acquisition rules. maybe they are. I guess I have to look into this if this is a thing. But as of right now, I believe it's a federal requirement, and I think this was a bureaucratic decision, not something Congress voted on. So it could be undone bureaucratically as well. But it's a nationwide requirement that you go to some sort of truck driving school to get your CDL. You can't get it without schooling. I don't know. I'm assuming if I were to start my own school that I would have to meet certain requirements. Don't know what those are. But I don't think it's the type of thing where you can just open up I don't know. Like, I don't know. I wonder if the cost, because I see the cheaper but still certified part, I wonder how much of the cost actually goes toward the government versus just paying employees to run the school. It seems to me like this would be an interesting thing to research, but it seems like somebody is making money off of this ploy here. So I wonder how much overhead costs versus just the people trying to run the school. So I don't know. It's not a bad idea. I'm not sure I'm the guy who's the one to do it, but that is an interesting idea. If you could make a school that's cheaper and just gets people the certification they need. Do you think a presidential candidate could be viable and win without completely bowing, inflating Israel? No, I don't. I think that that's basically a requirement to win. I mean, you can't even. Yeah, no. I'm not even sure you could do that with Ukraine right now. You can do it with Saudi Arabia and win. That's what Joe Biden did. But as soon as he won, he completely changed his tune, and now he's filleting them. So, I mean, the thing is with Saudi Arabia, if you shit talk them, you don't really get the accusations of being a racist. I mean, the whole Sam Harris getting canceled for talking about Islam is kind of a joke. I mean, he did get canceled by some woke Marxist retards, but everybody gets canceled by them. Like, that's not an accomplishment. You know, he was never deplatformed or blacklisted like you are if you talk about Israel or Judaism. And the same with Bill Maher. Like, yeah, he couldn't speak at Berkeley because he's not a woke moron. But he's never, I mean, I shouldn't say never. He was 20 years ago removed from his TV spot for actually being pretty ballsy and some stuff he said about 9/11. That's the Bill Maher I like. And you still see it poked through occasionally. Like, he's not completely useless or anything. It's just he could be so much better than he is. And he's just, I don't know. Like, when he goes hard, it's great. He's concise. He's just on the nose. And then when he misses, it's just like, Jesus Christ, dude, you are out to lunch. Let's see. Commies are the reason you make good money from zero skills. That's true. Although you can make even more money if you have skills, and it's easier to make money without applying yourself, basically. So all you have to do is be efficient, on time, and do your job, which should be a basic requirement to hold a job, but it isn't anymore because people can't find good help. So if you don't show up to work or whatever, it's less likely that you'll get fired these days because, you know, there's no other option. So if you are willing to apply yourself at all and just show up on time, do your job well, you can excel. You can make tons of money, and it's so much easier. And this guy's right. It's because there's a bunch of retards who are running everything now, who are making all the decisions, and who are in the workforce. So if there's some old school guy who needs help, if you are just willing to try and just apply yourself to the bare minimum, you'll do fine. So if you're willing to work hard and go the extra mile and, you know, do what you used to have to do to, you know, move up in the world, now it's just so easy to blow everyone else out of the water. So easy. If you're willing to work hard, which you should. If you work hard and you do the best job you can do. You stay late, you show up early. It's so easy to excel now. Let's see. God is a thing between you and yourself, no middleman involved. Hey, I kind of told him in the episode, I don't really care that much anymore about this subject. I think it is a problem when you have millions of people who think we need to defend Israel so that Jesus can come back, stuff like that. But outside of that type of thing, I don't really see how it affects day-to-day life so much. Like a lot of Christians are just really moderate. I got tons of friends who are Christians. And, even though I was taught some of that dogmatic stuff growing up, that you shouldn't hang out with people who aren't Christians because they'll be a bad influence on you, none of them really act that way anymore. Like, they're very chill. Socially, I don't really see what negative connotations Christianity has at this point. I mean, I think it's stupid, some of the stuff in it. And I think it's weird to think that someone who just disagrees with you is going to burn in hell for eternity, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because it's pretty moderate in America. You don't have a lot of fundamentalists anymore. So I don't, in general, really care. So that's why it's something I've actually strayed away from talking. I think at a limited, localized level, anti-Zionists can win, not anything on the national stage. Yeah, I mean, if you're in New Hampshire, or even if you're a governor, I don't know. It's just if you're running for president, it's really hard. Which is what you specifically asked. I think even in Congress, like, you don't have to be explicitly pro-Zionist, like Thomas Massey or Rashida Tlaib or Ilhan Omar or whatever. So, I mean, you can. It's just running for president. It's a different story. What about Jackman and Ryan? When will we see them again? Ryan is not doing well right now. I don't know what he wants shared, but he's having health issues. So if you want to go over to ANC Report and give him some donations, he's not doing well. So I don't know when we'll be doing the next Four Horsemen. I know he actually was waiting to even do his first show appearance. So I'm not sure. I will keep you updated. Okay, I'm way behind. Let's see. Reed, have you attended public sessions at the State House to give commentary on a bill? It's fun, easy, and monetizable as content. I should. I don't have a lot of spare time right now because I'm working, but that's something I would like to do. Okay, I'm still, the squad won and they're anti-Zionist. Yes, they weren't running for president. Also, they're like armchair anti-Zionists. Most of them vote for funding for Israel, even though they speak out against it rhetorically. I think we should find spirituality within. The Bible, Torah, Quran is from the Middle East, stories that tell a story of history and culture. I do have a lot more respect for that opinion. I mean, I remember there was a time when I thought that about the Bible, that even though I thought a lot of it was probably true, it was just the Israelites, the ancient Israelites' journey with God. And so why would that necessarily have any impact on today, or at least absolute impact? Maybe some impact, and maybe, there were good stories in it that I could relate to, but definitely didn't think it had an absolute truth that must apply to today. So I understand where you're coming from for sure. Most religious people seem to not actually believe, but rather tell themselves they believe. They don't act like God is real or that everybody's soul needs to be saved. They pretend to believe. Yeah, I think that's true. There was a time when I did believe and I was terrified, and I didn't understand why everyone wasn't passing tracts out all the time. That's what my grandfather did. He carried little Bibles around in his pocket all the time. Every time he met someone, he was sharing the word. So I think he sincerely believed. But yeah, I mean, if you care more about the the backyard barbecue you're going to have on Sunday afternoon than trying to go and save people who are damned to hell for eternity. It's probably a pretty good sign you don't really believe what you're saying, or you're at least being hyperbolic when you talk about it. So I agree. Legislative session in New Hampshire runs January through June. Yeah, shoot me a message on Facebook, man. If you're going to go some weekend day or something, I'd love to do that with you. Actually, that'd be cool. The Talman is straight satanic. There you go. Watching the left deride the squad for not standing up to House leadership like Gates and company is a fun twist for me. That is pretty amazing. I got to say, I am impressed with Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert. And I don't actually know if they ended up capitulating too. I don't know if they voted for McCarthy at the end. I'd have to go check. But even if they did, good on them for demanding concessions, because there were some people, I mean, I made jokes about it. It would be awesome if we never got a speaker, like obviously, but we were going to get one. So I think they made the right move. And I think, honestly, they made more of an impact than the Libertarian Party ever has. Those 20 Republicans who extorted the speaker candidate into making concessions, like I think that is what libertarians should do. I think that's what their role should be. But the problem is we don't even make enough of an impact to extort the Republicans. So a lot of people wonder, like, why don't libertarians go after Democrats harder? It's because libertarians are supposed to be like those 20 Republicans. Those 20 Republicans can't extort the Democrats because the Democrats don't agree with them on basically anything. Where the Republicans, they could say, look, if you want our support, you need to do this, this, and this. And then those Republicans have to listen to them because they know they need those 20 votes to win or whatever. That is, in my mind, what the Libertarian Party should be in general. It should be that voting bloc that the Republicans try to go after, and we tell them, look, if you want our support, you got to knock this off and you got to do this instead. And maybe there's a rare case where you can do that with the Democrats from the Libertarians, but for the most part, it's going to be with the Republicans because they're the ones who pretend to care about the same things we do. And a lot of the base does care about some of the things we care about. Like a lot of the base does care about fiscal responsibility, gun rights, leave me alone, I'll leave you alone, all that type of stuff. So they're the ones we should be extorting and trying to make better. So it was really disappointing to me to see Marjorie Taylor Greene jump on the shame train. If she just voted for him or whatever, it wouldn't be that big a deal. If she didn't stand with Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz, still wouldn't necessarily be that big a deal. But man, she was just up there like, we need to vote for McCarthy. We need to knock this off. People need to get their priorities straight and just get in line and elect him. Like, what are you doing? I don't think there was any good strategy behind that. Behind extorting them into making concessions, I think that's awesome. The progressives, they wanted to see a force the vote thing for Medicare for all a couple of years ago now, or a year ago. Yeah, a couple of years ago now. And it was basically the same thing. They wanted AOC and the squad to demand a House floor vote on Medicare for all. And so they knew it wasn't going to pass, but they just wanted it to see the progressives kind of extort the Democrats into being more progressive. So it's kind of the same thing. Like those progressives couldn't extort the Republicans into, being more progressive because Republicans aren't progressive. Just like libertarians typically can't extort Democrats into being more libertarian because the Democrats aren't libertarian at all. The Republicans are slightly libertarian, so they can be forced into being better. So I think, Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert, they just laid out a perfect blueprint for what the libertarians, whether they're running as Republicans or in the Libertarian Party, it's what they should be doing. Because there aren't enough libertarians in the government, even on a local level anywhere, to make huge changes unless they're extorting the vote being a kingmaker in some cases. So these dumb lowbirds who just want like a world set free in our lifetime where every government is full of libertarians, it's not going to happen. So if you want change, I think that's how you get it. Okay, this guy's saying they voted present. I think Boebert and Gates. So there you go. They did not vote for him. They voted not present and got a lot of concessions. Yeah, I think that's what you got to do. Hey, Reed, Mohammed, the atheist here, longtime follower of Ryan Dawson, and that's how I got to know of you about 2 years ago or so. Keep on grinding, my man. I sure appreciate the genuine sincerity. You're welcome. Yeah, so it might even help my brand if I pretended I were a Christian. Lots of like blue collar, traditional family values people would like a lot of what I say. But I'm not. And I do think that a lot of people have some bad opinions because of things they've been told throughout their religious life. So I think it's worth talking about. I also, though, don't think it's good to demonize religious people. I don't think it's good to treat them like a bunch of idiots either. I tried to make this clear in my interview, but I know people who are way smarter than me who believe religious things that I think are ridiculous. And so, in other words, I don't have no respect for people who believe things that I think are crazy. Like, I realize that there can be compartmentalization to what people believe. And people like Ron Paul, Daniel McAdams, who are religious, I have so much respect for both of those guys. And I would much rather ally with Ron Paul and Dan McAdams against neocons, than some atheist dweeb or whatever. Spud, I know you're a woman. I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about the analytical failure. They voted present. I'm in a group chat with you. I know what you look like, so chill out a little bit. I'm not saying you're a guy. Don't worry. I do pay attention to my fans, all right? Not completely out to lunch. To me, it's how they express it. I don't know if you're talking about religion or what you're talking about there. But yeah, guys, as you know, I do one of these streams every time I break 1,000 more followers. Haven't done one in a while. It's been 8 months, but yeah, that was a woman moment. On your part, Spud. But it's all good. I love all my fans. They're the greatest. I have the greatest fans. No one has more great fans than me. I love my women fans. Nobody loves women more than me. But yeah, thanks for your continued support. I will be doing more episodes this week. I'm going on Allison Morrow's show at some point. She's been emailing me. We're just trying to figure out a date. She's got a great channel with over 100,000 subscribers. So make sure you go check her channel out. But I'll be on there at some point. And yeah, I'm just going to keep on the grind. There's been many times where I could choose to ride some vein of populism that I've decided not to, because it's just not me. And I think in the long run, sincerity and honesty just pays off better than anything else. So thank you guys for the continued support, and I will catch you on the next stream.